In this video we are going to make our printed circuit board layout here on the screen. So to start off with, just to verify, we have the route, and under route we have current auto router. We should have grid right there. Under route, auto router setup, we should have one layer. And also under route, router setup, you should have this trace width set to 0.04. Okay. The other thing in here is you don't know what part this is. In the last tutorial I alluded to that being the switch, but if I double click it, you can come up to this value right here, and I'm actually going to put in switch. Okay, and this should have been done in the schematic, but it's not there. And you can see it in there if I scroll in, and we can move the spot of the location of that later on. The other one here is LED, and I'm just going to put in here value. You can see LED. There's nothing in there. And also down here, I'm going to switch this to servo. Okay, and you can see it's under what's called the name, but it's not under the value. Okay, so there they are. So if you don't like the location, what we can do is we can come up to view. We can go down to component markings, main, okay, or additional, right? No, and oh, sorry, there we go. Main and justify, and we can say top. What it does, shoves everything to the top. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to place these things in a logical order around the chip, right? So I'm going to take this part, and you can see, you know, right here is where the pins connect. I want this part close to that. Right, and I'm going to hit F11 to get rid of the grid so I can move it a bit closer. So I'm going to move it to there. I'm going to take the LED, and I'm going to spin it around, and I'm going to put the LED close by like this. The servo, what we'll do is we'll move it closer. Let's see, that those pins go to there, that pin's there, that pin's there. So I'm going to take the servo, and maybe we'll try and spin this maybe into here. Let's see what happens. This resistor might come over here, and finally the switch, maybe we'll try it right there. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're ready to actually make the board, and it's really a simple process. You simply take the auto run router, or the run auto router right here, and you click with the left mouse button, and it will give you this error message, and then we'll say OK, and bang, your project's done. Okay, sometimes it works out really slick, other times it doesn't. So in this case, it's worked out really well. Now I want to keep the circuit as small as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to undo, and I'm actually going to move this in a bit closer now. And I can move this in a bit closer. And I'm going to take this resistor, actually maybe we'll take the servo, we're going to run it to here, and we're going to space these, spin these around, and maybe we're going to make this a little bit smaller. Okay, and let's see what happens now when I route it. Right, and it still works again. Now how big this is, we can go to File, Design Information, and on here you can see the width of this board is 1.25, so about 1 1/4 inches by 1.125, so about 1 1/8 of an inch. That's pretty small. Okay, so there's our circuit. Now the other things we can do is here, this is the top layer, so if I want to move things around, I can move the part around, and you can see everything moves down below. What if I wanted to move the traces below? Okay, so what we do is instead of top, we go to bottom, and now you can actually move the bottom parts. Okay, you can see I can move these things if I wanted to move them a tiny bit. Okay, the problem now is, oh, and I can still move the top. Okay, so that's basically, you know, if you wanted to move some stuff around, you can take it. And what I mean by that is the distance between here and here is really small. Okay, so if these were a bit close, we could actually move them. Like if this was sitting like this, to me that's a bit close. So what I like to do is move stuff around a bit so it's a bit farther. And you can see as I do this what happens. Okay. The other thing is if I wanted to add a spot, or let's say I wanted to move a couple parts, I could take this and I can right mouse click and I can unroot trace, and I can take this one, unroot trace, and this one, unroot trace. Then what I could do is I can move these around a bit and say, okay, well I'm going to move that one there, that one even closer, and then I can reroute, and you can see it does it automatically for you. So that's the basics of making a printed circuit board. You know, the only other thing you might want to do is under View, I can go to Layered Display. Oh, I already turned it to all layers. If I only have it as only current layer, you can see that you don't see the parts, and then you have to go to the top and you can see the parts again, right? So what I like to do under View is always have it set up for Layer Display, all layers, okay, and you can see everything. So last thing is printing it. So all you do is you go to File, you go to Preview, and then I'm going to change the scale here to 75% so you can see the page. You know how big it is on a piece of paper that goes through the printer. So I would take this, the 4 arrows, if I leave it over top, it actually calls Move Board, and I can move it to anywhere on the paper. So let's just say I put it there, and then I don't really need the board, so I can come up to Object Type, and I can say the board and get rid of the board. And then basically it would just be Print, and then from here you would print it to the circuit board printer, which I have, no, I don't have set up on my computer just yet. Okay, but you have to print it to a certain printer with a certain piece of paper. And from this point in time, I'm going to stop, and that is basically how you make a circuit board all the way to the print stage.